Good morning, Kelowna. It is a beautiful Saturday again. Hey, a little frosty last night, Ken. A little frost on the pumpkins. Well, there's no pumpkins left, but it was a little frosty. I came out to the greenhouse, and there was a crispiness to the lawn as I walked across. A bit of a crispiness, you know. Anyway, are we on? Are we on the air? We are on the air. Good. Okay, because I can't hear myself. How about if I turn it up? There we go. Now I can hear myself. Okay. Let's do the tips and plants of the week.
Yeah, you betcha.
Well, my tip of the week is think of a child or a young person who would benefit from a gardening experience. I mean, just think about that and then apply that into action and turn a young person onto gardening. It's the best thing you could ever do to them. There might be a gardening video game. I don't know.
No, if you don't get the dirt under your fingernails, it doesn't count.
That's right. Okay, and my plant of the week is an old-fashioned plant that we used to sell for years, and we still do in the industry. The Reiger begonia. The Reiger begonia.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah, good one.
I haven't pulled that one out for a long time, and the reason I did was we received a Reiger begonia as
nice
as a gift. And I thought, good old Reiger begonia. That's my awesome tips and plants.
Awesome choice. All right, I also have a tip and a plant, and my tip of the week is that a good idea this time of year. You're getting a lot of leaves right now. Some of the leaves are actually green, which is it means there's a little more nutrient in them, I guess. But the leaves that do fall off the trees, they kind of scatter around. One thing that you can do with them is you can put them into garbage cans or into large pots, that sort of thing, just to store them over the winter. Some people even just put them into garbage cans. I find they get a little putrefied, but I'd rather put them into actually a garbage can and then put some moisture in there, put the lid on it, and let them mold over the winter. And by spring, you're starting to get a really nice leaf mold happening. Generally, by around the month of June, that leaf mold has come through to fruition, and it's ready to be used in the garden, particularly in vegetable gardens. Leaf mold is a beautiful thing. All right, my plant of the week this week is very close to Dawn's plant, which was kind of funny, was the begonia rex. So isn't that funny? We both got begonias. This is one of the
very first times
we've been close. Yeah, begonia rex is a plant that's really grown for its leaves. The fibrous begonia type that the Reiger begonia that Dawn was talking about is definitely grown for its flowers, very floriferous. But the begonia rex really has those beautiful, colorful leaves and just kind of a very cool plant. Every time I see the new ones that come out every year, it just blows my mind. They're just so beautiful. They make an excellent house plant and a very exotic outdoor plant in the summertime, as particularly in your planters. That's my tips and plants for this week. Remember to check growercoach.com.
There you go, Ken. And the begonia family is huge, just like a lot of these plants that we start discovering. Mm-hmm. In my old age here, I am really discovering new plants, and I'm becoming a bit of a plant collector, which is a lot of fun because there's going to be a lot of plants to get rid of when I leave the earth. I'll tell you, but we'll see. I may take them with me. Who knows?
You never know.
Just could take them with me, like the Egyptians used to do. They take everything with them, bury everything, all their swords and bows and arrows and chariots and everything. They get buried with them. Okay. Well, it did get frosty last night. It's not real cold. I mean, November can give us anything. November, December, January, February, they can be killers. They can get out there and do their thing. And so I'm watching the weather like a hawk now. I've got my banana put together to bed. I got all my stuff. I got my dahlias in. I've got the geraniums all in and rooting and whatever. I got all that stuff going on. I'm just watching because the last job of the fall, as winter approaches, is to put my cover on the fig.
Right.
It's so important because I had so many figs this year, Ken. It was hard to figure out the whole thing. It was really tough to figure out the whole fig situation. But anyway,
how you were going to eat them all.
I know, and I put them on my cereal, and I just ate them right off the bush. It's amazing.
They are a beautiful thing. That's something that's very unique. Anybody who does, have that opportunity to eat a fig right off a tree, It's just unbelievable. It's one of the tastiest things you have to experience.
Yeah, they are. A little bit funny on the texture. Donna is not fond of the texture.
Yeah.
But you got to get past the texture and get into the taste. And the softer and what looks like overripe they are, the sweeter they get.
Yeah.
They're very, very tasty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Turkish figs. Well, I guess we should invite some calls because that's what we're all about here on the AM 1150 Garden Show. We like to hear people's questions and offer advice to them, and they can offer advice to us too. We learn just as much from our callers as they do from us. 250-862-2525 to get through to us today, and it's just a beautiful day in the neighborhood, Ken. I have carrots still. I harvested, first time ever, I've grown green onions, what they call green onions.
Yeah.
The little guys that
actually called green onions.
Yeah. And you lift them when they're tiny and you chop up the foliage and the onion itself. Mm-hmm. I put them in my soup. I put a little handful in my soup and everything.
Ah, they're great.
We had about 4 crops of those this year, planting in sequence in succession. Yeah. And Ken, you've heard it so many times. People say, "When do you plant your garden?"
Yeah, always.
Yeah, always.
Yeah,
I've still got carrots that are they're not big, but they're nice, tasty young carrots, and I can pull them as we get ready. And as it gets to be frosty, then covering them up might be a good thing to do, just to and then just unbury a few when you need them. I've got the garlic. I put my last bit of garlic in just about a week ago, and I'm looking forward to that in the spring. I love the garlic. Mm-hmm. I'm going to plant fewer of the Kelsey onions this next spring,
right?
Because I just had so many. I planted 1,000 of them, and
wow,
I had so many Kelseys that I couldn't. And
you have pretty good success with onions.
Well, I do, but the where I have the success is getting them in early.
Right.
Ken, the ones that I planted early versus the ones that got long in the tooth in the pot, in the pack. It was like something triggered them, and they didn't size up in the garden.
Yeah.
Even though they had a long time to go. They came to maturity, and the tops started dying before they really sized up.
So which ones were those? The ones that you planted early or the ones that you planted late?
The ones that I planted late didn't size up.
Right.
The ones that I planted early when they were very young in the thing, what I'm saying is leaving them in the packs.
Yeah.
Something triggered them to go to maturity quickly, rather than the early ones that I planted. They were loose and young.
They must
have
been stressed out or something.
I think they get stressed in the pack. They just, something triggers them that they didn't come first, because they had lots of time to do it. I thought to myself, well, if I plant these that I've got left over, right? I had a bunch left over in June. I planted them in June, and those are the ones that didn't size up. And yet they had July and August to do that, but they just didn't. So anyway, that's the way it goes. Are we going to go to the phone lines? We're going to take a short break here, and then we got Dan phoning in.
Nice.
And we're going to talk to him when we come back with more AM 1150 Garden. You betcha. We've got Don Burnett and Ken Salvail here for the 1769th time. We're going to talk.
Still going.
And we've got Dan Bruce join us again this morning. Good morning, Dan.
Good morning, Ken. Good morning, Don. How are you?
We're well.
Good,
we're
thanks.
well, Dan. We've my plant of the week was a Reiger begonia, and Dan and Ken's plant of the week was a begonia rex. Now, how can that happen? We both had begonias.
Close.
First time ever we've had the same plant of the week. Well, not the same plant, same genus.
Well, the old saying is that great minds think alike.
Well,
and then somebody in the back of the room puts up their hand and says, "Yes, but fools seldom differ."
Yeah, that's right. But Dan,
Exactly.
we like I say, we've been on the air a lot together.
Yes.
And this is the first time that Ken and I have had the same genus. Now, we didn't get the species right, but we got the genus.
Well,
Begonia.
that's a good thing, because both having exactly the same plant of the week is that's not really what it's all about.
No. That's right.
It's difficult.
Now I'm still looking for a pachypodium. You know that. Now I'm thinking
I know you're looking for a pachypodium, and as soon as I find one, I will gather it up and.
Yeah. Well, have you ever heard of tissue culture?
Yes.
Well, I'm thinking I could bring my little scoop a piece of yours into that, into the petri dish, and do the tissue culture thing.
Oh, I always thought tissue culture had to do with Kleenex.
Oh. Okay.
No.
Well,
it's okay. That's
any
okay.
part of mine is available for tissue culture if you can do it.
Yeah. No,
and I do believe that our friend Richard Fournier down at the south end of the valley knows quite a bit about that.
Yes, he's a tissue culture guy. Dan, I'm going to leave your pachypodium alone and just visit it once in a while. Yeah. Anyway.
Well,
you're calling out a common name for that. I was just looking it up today. The common name is just Madagascar palm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Madagascar is correct. Palm is not.
No.
And of course, they also occur in South Africa.
Oh, do they?
Yes. A number of species are natives of South Africa.
Yeah, I was quite amazed. Pachypodium, there's about 12 species.
Yeah.
In the genus. And it just complicates the whole thing, What kind of pachypodium do I want?
Any kind's a good kind.
Any kind. I'll take anything right now.
Yes. Well, I think some of them can be quite difficult to grow, but others are obviously not, because they certainly are out there in the trade in some numbers.
Yeah.
I guess it's just all the thorns on the the spikes going up the trunk, which is what I think is the coolest thing really about them. But
well, same with the Alawadia, the same idea, very prickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But then they're kind of related, not way back, I guess, because they're both found in that what they call the prickly forest or the prickly jungle in Madagascar, amongst other things too. Anyway, that's beside the point. I will eventually get a hold of one, and we'll have a good time.
We'll have a party.
And I really enjoyed my visit in your greenhouse the other day.
Well, Dan, it was an honor to have you there, and we sat and we looked at plants and Dan is full of information on history and the background behind a lot of these plants, and that's always fascinating.
Well, I was in Farmers Fruit and Produce here in Winfield yesterday, and lo and behold, there in neat little packages for sale were Jerusalem artichokes.
Oh.
And I got some because I think they're very good. They do really well in soups. They do really well as a roast vegetable around a chicken, turkey, or whatever you're roasting in the oven.
Mm-hmm.
Interestingly, they're one of the few vegetables native to Canada.
Oh, they're native here?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, we used to grow them, and that's the root.
The root, yes, not the globe artichoke.
Not the globe artichoke. Now, are they actually both artichokes?
Well, the Jerusalem artichoke is a sunflower.
Oh, see, common name again. Yeah.
And we think that the origin of this, the French word is girasol, which got somehow twisted into Jerusalem.
Oh, I see.
Where the artichoke came from, I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, it is a sunflower, and
native
is native of North America, including Canada. Has been used since well into Aboriginal times. And it's, I think, unfortunate that it's so rarely seen on Canadian dinner tables.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. So, where did you find that?
They were at Farmers Fruit and Produce here in Winfield.
Well, there you go.
And if we purchase those, I'm sure we could plant them, couldn't we?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that, and they have a reputation for being prolific,
invasive,
and
but you know what's worse? What's worse is that comfrey.
Well, yes.
And the other thing is worse is the hot stuff, the stuff you make for
horseradish.
Horseradish, yeah, that's really bad in the garden. Yeah.
Invasive.
But you know something that's even worse than all of those?
What?
Well, it's the thing that you go out and you buy and you bring it home, you plant it, and it dies.
Yeah. Yeah, that's worse. Yeah.
Doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter what it is.
That's right. That's right. Well,
yeah, there you go.
250-862-2525. You want to join us today? We're talking plants. We always do that when we've got Dan on the line because he's a plant guy, and we always enjoy the depth of knowledge that he has and also just the chat that we get into when it comes to plants. I want you to explain to the listening audience, Dan, because you can do it so eloquently, the difference between a yam and a sweet potato. Come on, tell them.
Well, a yam and a sweet potato, these are two different genera. Yam is Dioscorea, and the sweet potato is Ipomea. Ipomea, of course, is the same genus as morning glories and those sort of climbing flower things. Here in Canada, we get essentially, commonly, two different varieties of sweet potato. One is yellow, the other is sort of orange. And though there are now a few other types being offered, the two common ones are both sweet potatoes. In the trade, the grocery trade, which incidentally didn't pass Botany 101, in the trade they call the orange sweet potato a yam, which it is not. A real yam is a much larger root, grown under different conditions. It's a staple crop in a lot of areas of the tropics, particularly in the Caribbean and in West Africa. Yam is like a sort of coarsely grained potato with not a whole lot of flavor. It needs culinary help, which the people who grow it understand perfectly well. But if you really want to experience a genuine yam, you can go to independent grocery in the Capri Mall, and there they have a line of produce that is actually grown in Jamaica. So you can get 2 or 3 different types of real yam, and you can get bananas that are regular bananas, but they're very, very green, which is the way that most people in Jamaica eat them as a cooked vegetable.
Oh, interesting.
So when you're in the grocery store and you're looking at these two sweet potatoes, one called sweet potato, the other called yam, that is like turning around and seeing a red delicious apple called an apple. So then you're wondering what the golden delicious one might be called because it's a different color.
Right. No, I get it. And for years, I was in the column of ignorance, and knew that or thought that the yam was that orangey colored sweet potato, but it's not. And so people have to change their it's like calling concrete cement. Cement is what glues the concrete together.
Yes.
Concrete is concrete, and that's when you add the gravel. It's even concrete before you mix it in with water. It's called concrete.
Yep.
Cement is the powder that's in there that makes it happen. So it's not a cement truck. It's a concrete truck. It's just, and so the yam is not a sweet potato. So there you go.
There you go. Very good, though. I really
Dan,
appreciate that.
It's always great having you on. Have you got anything that you need to tell the listening audience before you flea and feed your pheasants and parrots and plants and everything
Well,
else?
No, I think probably the listening audience might even be fed up with hearing it from me for now. So, other than to wish everybody a very calm, quiet, cool, collected, and safe Saturday, I will say see you next week.
Oh, thanks, Stan. Thanks. We always appreciate you popping in, and we had a great discussion today. Take care, buddy.
I will.
Okay.
Thanks, Dan.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, there you go,
Yeah,
Ken.
there you go.
I think we should take a break.
I believe we should, for sure. It's that time.